A couple of questions ago, you started, or actually you said, James, that you have an innovation mindset, and you mentioned Toby, who is the CEO, if I'm not mistaken, of Great Portland Estates, GPE. Um, in that regard, is it Toby that is sort of instilling this vision and this strategy around innovation? And if so, how is he leading in that way for you as a department in a way?
So Toby's always where Toby is very supportive is that he's not necessarily of the same innovative mindset himself. That's not always the case. But doesn't mean he's got many talents. Where Toby's very useful is pushing us to distill down to problems. He also recognises that he doesn't know what he doesn't know, and he loves the fact that we come to him with enthusiasm about ideas that we might have, and never, our curiosity never stops really. So he may not always want to receive it, but values it when it comes, and that I think is the important, because ultimately we have a very simple business and a very simple business plan, but we do very complicated work. And because it's there's always a long-term horizon. If you're not looking at the horizon at which you're delivering your product into, then you're going to get it wrong. And what he values and why he's supported us, and it's that support which is there, is to be able to encourage us to think about it, and to encourage others to think about, okay, when we deliver product in 2 or 3 years' time, is it meeting what customers want?
So I find that really interesting from the perspective of CEO engagement, because I suppose my own opinion, my own narrative is that the CEO should be engaged in innovation.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying there is something a little bit different, which I actually think is probably more pertinent, which is, it doesn't really matter if it's about innovation, because really what is more important from a CEO's perspective is really to understand the problems that your customers are facing, and then finding the way around that, of which, as you quite rightly put earlier on, technology may not be the thing. It may be one of them, and hence that's where your role comes in to support him in his role. So you are a cog in the big GPE wheel to solve the problems of the customers that you have. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, we're an essential part of the business to help the business to evolve and innovate, so that it's not scary, that we're still carrying on doing what we're doing. The biggest barrier to innovation in any organization is excessive bureaucracy and stress, and because you will continue to do the things the way you've always done them, because if you've got to get something done, that's what you're going to do. I think what Ella and I do is we facilitate, and we've learned to do it successfully, is by defining the problem, sourcing the available technology, carrying out a limited trial, accepting failure, setting parameters, and it's okay to fail, and understand that we don't necessarily want to carry on with something if it doesn't work for us, is that we're managing that expectation, and we're taking away the fear, if you like. We're not delegated. Innovation isn't delegated to us. You can't delegate it. And we know there are, because we have the 30 innovation champions across the business. There are people who want to improve as well. So there is a culture that people want to deliver better, want to improve what they're doing, get better at what they're doing, and there's a culture which accepts and understands that. And all we're doing is we're helping them. We're nudging those things going along, so that ultimately they are there to receive them, and it becomes business as usual for them. And in the meantime, we're also looking at the start of the hopper again about things that are coming along. So it's a constant process of managing from discovery, source, trial, adopt, roll out. and that scaling and things working across the portfolio. And that's our journey, and we'll continually work on those journeys, and we'll review them regularly and make sure that we're relevant and updating stuff.
Yeah, I think building on that as well, and to go back to your question, James, around the amount of involvement that the CEO has in innovation, I think we are in a very privileged position that we do have obviously a dedicated team as well. So therefore, maybe the CEO doesn't have to be as involved. Whereas, it's quite amazing that we've got James as a director level position in innovation, which not all companies might have, right? So I think if you don't have that other leadership role specializing in innovation, you probably need more involvement from the CEO. But in our case, we have a slightly different balance and a different structure.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, because I think a lot of what we're finding in the real estate industry is they haven't got a James and they haven't got an Ella in particular. They might have one of you, they might have none. And as a consequence, it is harder. But I would suggest that they are probably companies who are either early in that journey, or they're only really now discovering that they need these sorts of positions to prop up these roles that they have. But